I've been very excited. I've been very, very excited. Been highly anticipating a bout that's coming up. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Some of you may have not known that this was going to happen, but in case you didn't, Mike Tyson is going to box Jake Paul, and I'm excited more for the spectacle than the actual fight. I don't know what's going to happen in the fight exactly, but it is one of the wildest encounters of two people punching each other that you could have ever imagined. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, a star, a bona fide star globally of the 80s, fighting one of the most popular influencers that the modern era has to offer. And it just feels like somehow the 80s are fighting the 20s. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul feels like Sylvester Stallone versus Liam Hemsworth. It's like, you're just kind of like, what? How? How are they even close enough in age to have anything to argue about? This is crazy. If you don't know Mike Tyson, I know that some people are too young to have like really watched him fight. I'm too young to have like remembered those fights live. Some of them I wasn't even around for, but I watched the tape and it's devastating. Mike Tyson is one of the most bona fide terrifying people. You know what I mean? Some of the things that Mike Tyson would just say, I'd be like, oh, to even think it, you must be willing to do it. Do you know, like there was a press conference one time where Mike Tyson was sitting there and he's like, this thing, I don't think these guys understand. I'm not here to just box. I'm not here to fight or anything. I'm trying to take their health. Sir. The question was, what has your preparation been for this match? Mike Tyson he's like an embodiment of like everything like fierce, violent, and dangerous in one person that also very much loves birds. And what's wild about Mike Tyson is that from the time that he was young, right, to present, he had taken a genuine, not only interest, but maybe an obsession with the way that the world works, understanding oneself and understanding the world and how who you are applies to the world, right? So he said some of the most fascinating things around Alexander the Great, around conquerors, around kings, around how to win a mental battle as well as like a physical one, how war works. He has such an understanding of the world. And then he says other things. Other things that are so scary that you're like, sir, just shoot me. Don't want to have to deal with this, you know? And a lot of it bleeds together because it's not my time, right? I'm not like from that era, but you watch these old compilations of press conferences and interviews and post-fight interviews with Mike Tyson. I was scared for the reporter. Because you have a man who's been training to basically kill a man with his fists, even if it took him 12 rounds. and it took half of one. So by the time you interview him, he's still got a lot of energy. There was one time they were trying to interview Mike Tyson after a fight. They're in the ring with him. They're putting the mic in his face and everything. And he's so amped and he's talking. He's like, y'all don't understand. Like I'm from Sonny Liston's cloth. I'm the most fierce. And he starts describing not just who he is as a boxer, but his training and everything. And then at the end of it, he goes, I don't know, man. What? And I think if I had been the reporter, I'd also be like, nothing. I didn't say anything. Don't worry about me. Mike Tyson press conference was a master class in psychological warfare. He would say things that had you thinking like, oh man, this dude's like out of his mind. Or this dude really wants to kill me and I don't know him. That's gotta be tough as a fighter, to sign up for a fight. And you know we both fight. But one of us loves fighting. And we both like it, that's why we do it, and we're both good at it, that's why we do it. But one of us is so excited to hit, they don't care if they get hit. It's a very different person. Do you know what I mean? Even when you're mad, even when you're angry, and you're like, that's it, let's fight. You're trying to get the aggression out, and you want to hurt the other person. And yeah, maybe you're willing to take a few punches, but you aren't in a fight loving getting hit just so you can give a hit. It takes a different type of person, and Mike is a different type of person. You know? When you look at where Mike Tyson comes from, it's astounding that he made it to where he was. You know, Mike Tyson comes from Brooklyn, was in Bed-Stuy, and then at a young age moves to Bronzeville, and it is devastating because it's not the Brooklyn that you know now. You know what I mean? Like there were no cupcake shops. It was Brooklyn in a way that was, let's say the property would be cheap, all right? Like if you were trying to buy, all right? Devastating conditions. And he talks about how there was just, you couldn't even go to the bathroom inside sometimes where they were staying and stuff. And all of that stuff can make a hardened person. Because he didn't just have to live in certain conditions. He had conditions waiting for him when he got outside. He talked about it. He had to fight. He had to fight all the time. He had to be ready to be tough all the time. People will test you all the time, right? He talked about his first fight. Because like I said, Mike Tyson loves birds. It's truly one of the sweetest things about him. It's one of the things that like gives you a glimpse into the humanity of a person that's only known as being this fierce beast, right? Loving these birds, being gentle with them, caring for them, spending time with them, you know? Really taking care of them. And when he was a kid, there was a kid who took his bird. And he was like, give it back, give it back, give it back. And give it back, I think give it back genuinely in the way that a kid is asking you earnestly from the bottom of their heart, no, please, give it back, right? And that kid killed that bird in front of him. And then Mike Tyson, I'm assuming, killed that kid because he at least let him remember what would happen. And Mike would get into trouble, and it's easy to say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, right? All those things can be true. Obviously, you shouldn't be robbing people, you shouldn't be selling stuff, you shouldn't be out here with these people who are on a bad path and everything. But when you have what looks like no other option from those things, how can you expect someone to just know? You drive down the path that's been paved, you know? And so he ends up in like detention centers and stuff like that. And at one point, Mike Tyson meets Cus D'Amato. Customato sees him, and immediately he knows. He knows this kid is special and he's different, and not only just because he's built different, not only because he's big for his age, there's just something about him. And he gets the opportunity to like box a little bit. He goes to the gym, he's hitting bags and stuff, spars a little bit, and Customato sees in something in him. And after sparring, as the story goes, they ask this kid who's just sparred with some grown men, "How old are you?" And then Mike goes, "I'm 13. And then these grown men look at each other and go, "This nigga at least 30. Like, there's no way." You better put a 0 behind that 13. That's what? 13. And Customato, to my knowledge, actually adopts Mike Tyson. Takes him into his home, right? Not just to train him, but to care for him, to love him. Because all of this energy, all this fierce potential can really go somewhere if you nurture it, right? And then under Customato's leadership, Mike Tyson does become as fierce of a person as Customato thinks he can be in the ring. And Cus believed in him before he believed in himself. I think that's why their friendship, that mentorship is like, when you see it, there's something special about it. Because anyone who sees anything in any of us and pulls it out of you, right, just with their belief, that's a very special thing. And the only people that wish Customato hadn't done what he did are probably Mike's opponents, because Mike would have fights that were so damn fast. You can see it even in the video, even in some of the amateur fights that were actually on video. You can see in the opponent where they were like, "Does he have a hammer? What is he doing? That really hurt." And then Mike gets older. Mike becomes world champion, youngest world champion, right? In there with a boxer with real experience, who's also a special fighter, right? But Mike hits him in a way that maybe he's never been hit before. And if you go back and you watch the video of this knockout, I shouldn't laugh, but Mike didn't just knock this dude out. Like, he didn't knock him out cold, right? This dude gets knocked down again, and he's trying to get up, and you can tell that his body is like, "Dog, we done. Don't. No. You know, like when you're in a bar fighting, your buddies hold you back? That was that guy's whole body. Like, you can even hear the announcer be like, "Oh, he's fighting to get up, but his body won't let him," because his body is like parts of him that didn't get hit. This dude got hit in his head and the chin, and even his feet and his knees and his hips were like, "Look, if you ever want to speak to us again, don't stack us up on top of each other right now. You need to sit down." And then Mike Tyson becomes world champion. He becomes everything that Customato thought he could be. He becomes everything that he knew he was, right? It's a beautiful moment. And then it's important when you think of Mike Tyson to understand that Mike Tyson is America. A lot of Mike Tyson's story is how America works, right? There are parts of this country that if you travel to, you'll think you're in another country for how poor they are, how broken, the conditions that people are living in. It looks like the developing world in some parts of America, and we don't like to talk about it. We especially don't like to take care of those people because it means we have to really look at ourselves to do it. But there are people that come out of those conditions that build themselves up into something that no one else could have imagined based on where they started, right? Mike Tyson is just like America. Mike Tyson is fierce, fearsome, incredibly violent. People in other countries look at America the way that we look at Mike Tyson. Genuinely, if you travel, and I mean really travel, I'm not talking about just go to the tourist spots and the places that are popular to go. If you really travel and you know world history and you go to a place and you ask them about America, right? A country that we've attacked before, they look at us like we have a tattoo on our face. Mike Tyson, builds himself up, and he doesn't just get the world championship. He has some very, very impressive fights where you can average his whole fight time out to like maybe a round and a half. He's beating people so fast it's actually upsetting the crowd. I know people who paid a lot of money to go to a Mike Tyson fight and went in the bathroom at the wrong time. Sit there the whole fight card holding it, and then you're like, oh, he's only walking out, I got a second. And then from the bathroom you hear, oh. You're like, oh no. I mean, then Mike goes down a downward spiral. He loses Cus D'Amato. He loses this person that was a mentor, that was a friend. You know? And he tries to find his way, but he's still very young. People forget how young he was when he was Mike, when he was Iron Mike, and he was fearless and he was undefeated, and starts, getting lost in it. And he'll tell you that. He's talked about that. He got lost, right? Goes to jail at one point. Like, this dude is on a dark path, And even, this is attributed to Mike Tyson. I don't know if he actually said it like this, but he was like, I was a baby. And you gave me millions of dollars to punch people in the face. And you didn't think this was going to go off the rails somehow? Like, you didn't think that this was a bad idea, maybe? No. That's who's fighting. This guy who's relentless, So much fear. Imagine you're in the ring with Mike Tyson and he won't stop staring. Just the face-off, just watching the face-off, you would see it in his eyes. He's like, I would very much like to hurt someone today. And legally, it's you. And he was fast, and his movements were jerky, but they were quick, and they clearly hurt, because some very big men did not get up. He would hit people so hard sometimes that you'd be like, I think that guy's dead. And then he'd twitch, you'd be like, he's all right. That's who's fighting. And then you have Jake Paul. One thing people need to understand about Jake Paul, if you don't, he's very much, we are in Jake Paul's time. Whether we like it when I say that or not, he's having his Mike Tyson moments right now. World famous around the world. People tune in from around the world. They watch his fights, they watch his YouTube videos. This dude is a true bona fide star, right? And we can argue about if he's as popular as Mike was back then and why the internet is different, but he is very popular. And he loved boxing. He feels like boxing saved him. That's something similar that he has with Mike, because this kid, he got a camera from his dad, him and his brother, when they were young, and it was to film themselves while they were doing football so that they could improve, right? Which I don't know how that works. I don't play enough football. Like, if I did that and tried to tape myself playing football to improve, I think I would just be like, this is where I got hit. And this is when I hit the ground. I think that's all I did. I don't know was that right? Is that how you do it? And so him and his brother start making videos, like little YouTube videos, whatever. They're putting them online. They're getting some looks every now and again. But then Vine came out. And if you don't know what Vine is like TikTok granddaddy. And they start making Vines, and they get very popular almost overnight. They are huge on Vine. Everybody thinks they're funny, and they love to follow them. They want to know what they're doing next. They're getting all this money, endorsements, everything. At one point, Jake Paul is on the Disney Channel. I don't really know what he was doing, but it was quick. And then they start posting on YouTube, and they start getting millions of subscribers on YouTube. These kids are bona fide popular, and they understand something that maybe the rest of us just don't, and that's why they are where they are. They understand internet culture. They understand marketing and business. They understand the way that the world is turning, right? And it's the age of the influencer, right? And A lot of people want to be influencers. Some people don't want to be. You can accidentally become famous, and that's a terrifying thing. You become famous in a way that you really didn't mean to, you know? You're just living your life. But somebody puts a cell phone on you, or you don't know you're in someone's shot, and you trip weird, and you go, and now you're, like that's who you are as a guy. And then people see you in the world, and they're like, hey, we love you, dude, we love, that's our favorite. Man, keep killing it, dog, keep killing it. But before you know it, just one thing, just one meme, just one moment catapults you to this level of fame that no person can be prepared for. Whether you're Mike Tyson in the 80s or you're Jake Paul now, people don't understand that like fame that you weren't even trying to get can mess with your mind, right? And so Jake Paul was on a dark path as well. He was probably headed for a bad place, and then he started boxing and he loved it. And boxing to a degree saved him. And so he's out here boxing, you know? And at first he starts fighting like YouTubers, like fellow YouTubers, because that garners attention. Because sometimes you see two people who don't like each other and you're like, man, it would be kind of funny if they fought. And this is the thing about us. We as people love a fight. Whether we like to admit that about ourselves or not, we love a fight. I've been walking down the street and seeing kids on the park sinking threes from far away, Steph Curry level, right? And I'm like impressed, and I maybe watch him do two more, and then I'm like, he's getting it in. He'll be fine. But if I see a fight in the park, I stop. Because I'm wondering, you know? But no, we're in this age where I think people sometimes want to be famous more than they want to do something. You know, and that's where you get some of these things, some of these imitators of Jake Paul, of Logan Paul and stuff like that. There was a kid whose story, like, it blew my mind. Basically, there was this kid doing these pranks, and they were like barely pranks. It was just being obnoxious. It was just being like horrible to people and messing with people to try to get a reaction out of them. Because not only are we the new like influencers, everyone, all of us, all the time, it could happen to any one of us, but because of how people become influencers, because of how people get popular, they are our paparazzi now. You're just living your life, but now you're in someone's video and they're trying to make you act a certain way. That's not what we signed up for, you know? You should at least be rich to have that happen. And so this kid was making this video, and he was messing with this guy in the mall, and he was following him around, and he was just like not just being annoying, he seemed like to also be intimidating him a little bit, and he was really following him, trying to get him to answer some question or something. And finally, this little guy, he's like a very small guy, and he did not look well, right? He finally goes, stop, and then he pulled out a gun and shot him. And I am praying that's not him. This dude pulls out a gun and he shot him. There's this loud bang in the mall and people start screaming and running and everything. But from the vantage point of like the person who, because he posted it himself, the kid, the influencer who was making the prank video, posts the thing and he's coming at him and the guy's like, stop, bang. And then as soon as you hear the bang, this kid, the prankster goes, oh! And to be fair, there's no cool way to get shot. But he goes, oh! And he hits the ground, and that guy walks off, and obviously he gets arrested and everything. They explain the situation. I believe he got released. And then this kid goes to the hospital. He's fine, right? He's fine. He got shot in the side. and he's fine. But when they ask him about it, they ask him how he feels about the fact that this thing happened. Like, is it change how he's going to make content? He got more followers from it happening because he got on the news and people wanted to see the kid that got shot, and they wanted to see the other stuff that he did. So he did get more popular, right? And they wondered how he felt towards the gunman. This guy shot you and you were being annoying, but did you deserve to be shot, right? And then this kid sitting in his hospital bed, his dad, by the way, is furious. His dad is like, there are people saying my son deserved to be shot. My son's just a kid, right? And this kid sitting in his hospital bed, when he's asked these questions, goes, it is what it is, dog. Like, which I can't tell, is that a good attitude about it? But it lets me know it's not just a few people. It's not just a few individuals. We're in an age, and it's an age of if I can be popular, maybe I can be safe, maybe I can be liked, maybe I can be something, whatever it is. But it's apparently worth being shot over for some people. And make no mistake, Jake Paul is America. I don't know how it feels to have me say that, but Jake Paul is America. A lot of what America embodies is what Jake Paul is, right? America is business, usually business first. We can worry about being a country later. It's business, and it's fame, and it's money, and it's influence, right? You go to some of these backdoor meetings that some of these world leaders have when America convinces them to do something. We don't know how they do it. Maybe it's with money. Maybe it's with other things. Maybe they're like, hey, look, we'd hate for something to happen to your whole island. Influence. See what I mean? And so now you have these two boxing, and people don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, there are people that want Mike Tyson to hurt Jake Paul very badly. And then there are people who just want to see a fight. They just want to see what it would look like. You know what I mean? They just want to see what it would look like if, like, that guy from The Breakfast Club fought Timothy Chalamet. Like, just... They just want to see two generations go at it. You know? Because let's be honest, it's an odd fight. You know, Jake Paul has fought former MMA fighters. He's fought former NBA players. He's fought YouTubers. He's fought one established boxer, maybe two pro boxers that I know of, right? Because I don't know his entire record. But he said that the thing that made him do this, the thing that made him push for it and create it, was he did some ayahuasca. And when he did the ayahuasca, he said he saw himself fighting Mike Tyson. And if I'm being honest, taking ayahuasca and seeing yourself fighting Mike Tyson sounds like something Mike Tyson would say doing ayahuasca. Like, I could more clearly see Mike Tyson doing ayahuasca, and he's like, I saw myself fighting Jake Paul. I don't know, man. I had to think to myself, you know, if I did ayahuasca and I saw myself fighting Mike Tyson, I'd probably have to sit back and be like, maybe heroin's the answer. Like, I don't know. This ayahuasca is not it for me. No, thank you. You know? And so, as soon as he had that vision, though, he put it into motion. And that's the marketer, that's the businessman, that's the promoter in Jake Paul. He saw this thing and he had to create it. That's also America, by the way. You go to other countries and you're like, oh, I have this big dream of doing this thing. A lot of countries are set in their ways, right? America is properly crazy. we'll let you do anything, fundamentally. And so now they have a press conference. They're together, and Jake Paul's very good at being the heel, you know what I mean? But it's hard to be the heel when you're fighting Mike Tyson. Like, people might be booing you, but he's saying truly upsetting things. Mike Tyson was in a press conference one time, and he was like, look, all I want is for his kids to be watching us fight and see me beat them so bad that they're like, Daddy, no. Hearing Mike Tyson quotes out loud genuinely makes me want to learn Tai Chi, so in case I ever come across Mike Tyson, I can look like I'm about to fight him while also backing up. Like, and some people think that the fight's just a spectacle. Some people think it's a real fight. There are kids who think Jake Paul's got to beat Mike Tyson, right? Jake Paul's a great boxer. Let's see it happen. I'm so excited to see Jake Paul whoop this guy. There really are both sides to this thing. And it's going to be on Netflix, which who knows if that's a mistake. Do you know what I mean? Who knows if they fight and then one of them dies and we're just sitting there like, so... are we accomplices, or just sitting there, stoic, don't know what to do next, and Netflix is like, are you still watching? Not now, man. You know? And it's a gamble as well. It's a gamble. Is one of the biggest gambles we've seen, because Mike Tyson is, to some degree, putting his legacy on the line. He's one of the most fierce fighters that's ever lived. People talk about Ali and Tyson. When they talk about boxing, they don't really know anything about it. You know those names. And then Jake Paul's putting something on the line, too. It's like, I had this idea, I had this dream of fighting Mike Tyson, and maybe I'm just out of my mind and I'm going to be hurt very badly. And Netflix is putting something on the line, because it's like, will people watch? Will someone die? It's a genuine gamble. And if America is anything, it's a proper gamble. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. I don't know. I admire an aspect of what Jake is doing, because Jake loves boxing. And no one will probably ever give him credit for it, but he is revitalizing a part of boxing. People talk about boxing a little bit more now because of the popularity that he brings in, the new kids that he brings in, and he's putting himself on the line because he loves boxing. And that, to me, is wild. Like, I love hip-hop, but I wouldn't try to battle Kendrick Lamar. Like... I have been absolutely obsessed. I don't know if you've heard, but there's been a viral Chase money glitch. Okay, if you haven't seen it, basically someone on TikTok said that there was a money glitch at Chase where if you deposit a check for a large amount, an amount you don't have, it will let you withdraw the full amount that you just made up, right? And that is just check fraud. That's actually the plainest fraud you can do. To walk up to an ATM and be like, I'd like to lie, please. That's not legal at all. And so I saw the TikTok and I was like, uh-oh, I hope nobody does this. I hope nobody does. I hope not a single person does this. I hope no one does it, because it's the worst type of fraud you can do. I hope nobody does this at all. And then I went to Twitter, and
6,000 people had done it. Like, in the time that I saw it, there were already people who were like, yo, we out here living. And watching people you don't know commit fraud is like watching your uncle wear a suit he thinks he can pull off. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, no, not in front of everyone, not in front of everyone. Because that's what it was. It was in front of everyone. They not only did the check fraud, but they all made videos, which is how I was watching. This wasn't a rumor. I was like, that's a high definition camera that you are committing crimes in right now. I am so, man, the jails will be full. That's a lot. Because, you know, they were playing with money that they didn't really have, and they were spending it on things they shouldn't have been spending it on. And so, you know, I know I'm not the first person to say this. I'm late when it comes to saying this, but I need to say it just to reiterate one more time in case anybody doesn't understand why check fraud is a very, very bad idea. They went to Chase Bank, right? And then they wrote their name all over a check. And then they went to their bank, which was Chase Bank, with their name on that check, and then put that fake money into their account, which your bank account has every number that makes you identifiable. Like, your bank has your address. It has your social security number. It has the numbers of places you used to live. Like, they have so much information about you. Chase might as well just go to the police station and be like, we need to make a few printouts. And so people were doing the check fraud, but then this is the other thing. This is what happened. This is why people started doing it, right? Basically, the glitch, as people were calling it, some of it was just straight up check fraud because they will give you a portion of the check because they haven't verified the check yet, but it's law that they have to make a portion available immediately, right? And so there was a mistake for maybe, who knows, 10 minutes, an hour, where someone put in a check and it gave them the full amount immediately. It did not do that for most people. Most people got a portion. So when you see them throwing money, they definitely had to pick it up right after. Like, it's like... Don't let the internet lie to you. Like, they threw that money for the video, and then they were like, oh, God. I always, whenever I see stuff like that, I always think to myself, like, y'all didn't factor in the wind at all. Like, you balling for these next 3 seconds, but as soon as there's a gust, you're gonna be running into traffic, screaming, no! And so basically, you know, there was that side of the glitch. Another side of the glitch was that there were people who were also requesting loans, like pretty high loans. And the loans were also appearing, for some reason, appearing in their bank account in full, even though all the money wasn't available, right? So that part is a mistake on Chase's part on the website. But what's actually happening when they were withdrawing the money was just a little bit was coming out. That little bit was just a portion of a bigger amount, right? But then Chase caught on pretty quick because they posted it to the internet, right? Which is where Chase also is. If Chase was one of these mom and pop banks where mom worked the teller and dad was the personal banker, maybe they would have gotten away with it for quite a while. But because Chase is also on the internet, Chase saw the mistake they were supposedly making, they corrected it immediately. They put a 7-day hold on people's accounts that were affected by this like activity, right? But then, because they never had the money and because they already withdrew some of the money, they were getting negative balances as high as like $72,000, right? Which red $72,000, I think I'm just gonna change my name. Like that's when you open your bank account and you go, whose bank account is this? I don't know him at all. I am moving. But this is why you shouldn't let the internet lie to you, not just because they give bad advice with no repercussions, but also because there were people that were faking it. There are people that were faking the glitch, literally just to go viral. There were people who were going to the ATM, withdrawing their real money, not doing the scam, then throwing the money in the air for the video, and then immediately being like, y'all, help me. There were even people who were pretending, using other people's screenshots, pretending that they also had like a negative $48,000 balance. And it was all just for attention. And it's so important to remember that. It's important to remember that like half of the internet is for attention. Like almost none of this is real. I could be AI. Like none of this is real. And so when you take things that are like fun on the internet and you bring them into the real world, you could screw up your entire life, because check fraud is so much a felony. Check fraud is one of those felonies that someone does that's like not even like a dangerous person. It's just like, you'll be like, man, where is Cousin Willie? I have not seen him at the last 3 Thanksgivings. And then your grandma go, okay, so Willie, he got into a little bit of trouble at Bank of America. It was a misunderstanding with because grandmas always try to make you seem like less of a criminal. Like a grandma, you commit a crime and grandma be like, he had an accident. It was an accident. He is a sweet child. It was an accident because basically he got a little argument with one of his friends, and then he fell, because they were pushing each other. Then he fell on his friend, but he had just been holding a knife at the time. That's why we praying for him to get out, because I know his spirit. I know my baby, and my baby would never stab someone to death. My baby, how the police know he wasn't trying to get the knife out? You know what I mean? That's why it went in so many times, because it kept slipping in, and he kept pulling it out. Why didn't they ask why that man's body was magnetic? Why didn't they do that? My baby ain't no murderer. You do check fraud. Your grandma's like, that's not even his handwriting. But grandma, is his name at his bank put into his account? And they just came and got him. Yeah, but I don't know. When a grandma really has nothing for you, when you did it so hard, when you did it in front of her, that's when she's like, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, the one thing a grandma is not is a snitch. Grandmas... Okay. All right. So back in the day, so I grew up in Louisiana, right? And back in the day, we weren't friends, but I knew this kid, and he was like, this kid in my neighborhood was getting arrested, and it was a whole big scene because, like, basically, I don't know what he was getting arrested for, but the police thought that they needed 18 of them. Like, it was, I don't know what he did, but everybody showed up, if nothing else, just to watch. Like, that's... And that dude's grandma came outside screaming like, he didn't do it. Typical grandma. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. And then she tried to fake a heart attack. I was like, damn, grandma a G right here. That's probably what G stands for if you go back all the way. She was like, don't take my baby, don't take, oh no, my heart. And you could tell she was faking it too because she like really planned the fall. Like the fall, because she knew she couldn't just fall however she wanted to fall. She may never get up again. So she was in her little nightgown and everything, looking for a soft spot on the ground. Oh no, not my baby, my heart. I just can't stress it enough. Please do not do wire or check fraud. It's like, it's so easy to not do. We're all not doing it right now. And I don't want to, look, I'm not coming from some holier than thou place either. I understand crime. I understand why people do crime. Like if you've ever been broke, you get crime. Crime makes so much sense if you're broke. I don't understand when rich people do crime because they already have things. Do you know what I mean? If you do crime as a rich person, you're really doing it for the love of the game. If you are a multi-millionaire and you embezzle hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're doing it for chips. Like this isn't... You just felt like being bad or something, trying to spice up your life. A poor person doing a crime makes so much sense. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. That's a thing. I'd like to have it. Simple math, you know? I've been hungry. You hungry? Man, I wish I had something to eat. But on this planet, in this country, we trade money for things to eat. And I don't have any of that, so I guess I just won't eat. And then you don't eat for long enough that you're like, damn, the food is right there. You know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna do a crime. And then you grab an apple or something, and then, you know, grocer sees you, and you try to run, but you can't because you don't have any energy. So you get caught, and it's all very sad because you get charged with theft, but you took it because you were hungry. Like, crime, when you're broke, makes sense, you know? We don't like it, but it's true. It just does. And it's weird because it's like, Chase isn't... Chase... This is what bothers me about the whole thing. It was dumb of these people to do it. But to do it to Chase is like weirdly full circle. Chase got bailed out in 2008 for about $12 billion. And they needed those $12 billion because they were playing with money that wasn't theirs, and they were... They made the video, it just didn't go viral, you know what I mean? So it just, I don't know, there's a deep irony in that like, you know, one of the major powerhouses, probably the biggest bank in the country that contributed to near financial collapse, is gonna go ahead and get theirs back from some of the people that they made poor. It's It's pretty harrowing, you know? But every single one, I don't care if you were a kid, if you were grown, there was a line, by the way. There was a line at the Chase ATM, so a lot of people were doing this at once. There was such a long line. Okay, I didn't know about the scam until late. I am late when it comes to everybody doing this. It's already over, and Chase has like settled it, and they're probably gonna go get their money back. But I was in line one of the days, and I don't look like I wouldn't do it. I'm standing in line like, come on now. Line's never been this long before. That guy's throwing money. That's irresponsible. No. It's just, you should know. I don't care your age. I don't care if it was on the internet or if it was a rumor you heard in real life. You should know that you cannot just take money that's not yours as a poor person. If you want to steal millions of dollars, you need to already have millions of dollars. There is a Chase money glitch. It just only benefits Chase. The only people who can just print money with absolutely no consequence are the Federal Reserve. Everyone else has to deal with it. That's a tough one. It really is. Because I think about how some people are like actually in real felony trouble. I don't know what I would do if I committed a felony, but I was just joking. This is a terrible predicament to be in. Some of these people are like 20, They're like, guys, I don't know, I just wrote too many zeros, my bad. The only one of these scams that I really thought was like funny and was really rooting for the people on was that DoorDash one. I don't know if you saw this, but basically there was this DoorDash scam that was essentially the same thing. It was kind of tied to a Cash App scam. There are a lot of scams if you pay attention. It is crazy how much we're doing them now, how much we're doing like wire and check fraud. Like we, as Americans, we have become the Nigerian princes of the world. Because I know Nigerians. I know Nigerians from Nigeria. And they are like, what is happening over there? Do you need us to send you something? Y'all are down bad as a people and as a country. This is hard to watch. But basically, there was like a DoorDash scam / Cash App scam where basically Cash App was letting you it was basically letting you have a balance without pulling it from your bank. So then people were saying that they had enormous amounts of money, right? But then weren't able to pull it out. Like they weren't able to transfer this imaginary money to their bank. Thank God they weren't able to do wire fraud. But like they weren't able to send it. But what they could do is, as long as a full transaction was online and they linked it somewhere else, they could pay for things online with this fake money, right? And so what a lot of people would do was use their Cash App fake money to get stuff on DoorDash, which feels like the most fulfilling of the scams, because like you can make me pay back money, but you can't take the burritos out of me. You know what I mean? Like when the police come, I'm gonna be full, all right? And when they put me in the car, that car's suspension will be in trouble. I had the opportunity not too long ago to really be a hero. Like, you don't know when your hero moments are gonna come. They just show up, and then you act like the person you are in that moment. And I had the opportunity to be a hero, and I didn't take it. I looked that moment in the face. I was like, you must be looking at somebody else. Huh? I don't know what to tell you. This is bad. Basically, I was at a friend's house, and while I was there, some other people basically broke out into a fight, and like a real fight. We're not arguing. No one's talking anymore. Fists going and everything. And there was a moment where I could see a gap. I could see a pocket where I could have broke it up. And breaking up a fight is a very precarious position to put yourself in, because most fights that you want to break up, especially if it's two people, if it's three, it's gone too far. You're not going to be able to double dutch that one. You know what I mean? But two, you wait for a moment where they're like both tired, or they're trying to wrestle, or they're backing up to like get started to fight. That little back up hop step. This is usually okay. When someone doesn't really know how to fight, they do too much prep for the fight. You know what I mean? Like I know I'm digressing to digress, but basically one time in high school there were these two kids that were about to fight, and I didn't even bother trying to break it up because one kid stretched, and I was like, nobody that's really about to beat you down goes, oh, okay, you about to get it. You just give me a second. I'll be over there in a minute. You just. And so, said all that to say that, there was this moment where they were backing up, and one of them, you could tell he couldn't really fight because his hop, when he was backing up to prep, looked weird, right? Because he didn't hop like if somebody can really box, or if they've got like some movement, some footwork, they have the little hop. This dude went, okay, then here it is then. This man wanted to fight so bad, but just had to step on 1,000 roaches first. Like, in what world is this getting you ready? You look like you've already been hitting your cerebellum when you move like that. But anyway, they get to fighting, right? And I could have jumped in, but I was like, you know what? No. Because when you jump in to stop this fight, you need to be bigger than both people, right? The way you jump in and stop a fight, usually it's hand first, like you get the hand in there so that's the warning. Hey, stop swinging. Somebody else here. You might not hit him, you might hit me. Hey, right? And then you put your body in between the two of them. And the idea is that your body will be big enough that they're like, I want to punch, but there's too much to get around. And that isn't the case with me, you know what I mean? Like, I want to jump in and stop the fight, like a principal, just like, hey now. Okay, so, all right. I did see, okay, so years ago when I was in high school, I went with a friend to pick another friend up because all three of us went to different high schools, right? And so he could drive first, so he picked me up after school, and then we went to pick up our other friend. Now, our other friend was waiting outside of the school, but a fight had also, a few feet away, had also broken out at the school, and the principal did this exact thing, like, hey now, and you could tell he doesn't want to get in there because the hey nows were too frequent. Like, this man man, hey now, hey now, hey now. But he stopped the fight because he was just being too big for both those boys to get at each other, right? And I don't have that. Like if I jump in, I will catch a stray. Like I will, I'm gonna walk right into a fence. Brothers, please. And so then the fight breaks out, and the guy that I thought couldn't fight, it turns out he can fight if he keeps the fight weird, right? Because in fighting, in hand-to-hand combat, in battle, right? You use what you have. You use your hands, fists, elbows, knees, shins, foot, everything that you can. If you wrestle them to the ground using your weight, using leverage, there's just lots of going on with your body when it comes to a fight. But what I've never seen, and I watch fighting, I watch combat sports, I like watching boxing, I like watching kickboxing. I've seen people who can kickbox in real life in like a street fight. I've seen people who can box in real life in a street fight. I've seen people use their knees, like Muay Thai moves, elbows, all that stuff. I've never seen somebody who just grabs. It is harrowing to watch. Because my man is over here trying to like fight, like he's fighting, right? And he's like punching and kneeing and kicking and everything like that. And the other dude, anytime he get close, he's just like, huh. So now this dude punching while also being hella uncomfortable. Like, like you can see where he's like, hey, when's this cross over into a different type of assault? Do you know what I mean? Because like because at one point the dude was trying to dodge a punch and then like grab, and I think he thought he was doing kung fu. Because you've seen the movies where they're like, ha, and then like just Black Panthering and you up, you know what I mean? This dude at one point went to dodge a punch, but clearly, we could all see it, clearly grabbed the inner thigh of the dude he was fighting. And you see that dude miss with his punch, but also be like, and so they're fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting. And then there's one point where, the dude who really knows how to fight pushed the grabber away. Because I think he just needed a break. Imagine you beating somebody's ass and they're still like, it's devastating. And so then I realized that I made the right decision, not because I didn't want to be grabbed, but also I knew I made the right decision because when they re-engaged, the dude who knew how to fight, okay. I shouldn't laugh, but all right. I knew I made the right decision when the dude that knew how to fight threw a microwave, right? And I think, okay, this is what I think happened in my mind, right? No one even saw him with a microwave. We didn't know where the microwave came from. You know what I mean? And I think we were distracted because when he pushed the grabber off, the grabber was ready. He was still like had energy, even though he had lumps all over him and everything. And he was just standing like, And I'm not even kidding. At one point, I guess when he thought the fight was about to kick back off, we were all looking at his hand and he went, like, and that must have been when old boy grabbed the microwave, because we were all like, it's weird. And there's a thing about when you're in hand-to-hand combat and you're losing, that's usually when someone reaches for a weapon, but the weapons normally make sense. I'm losing a fight. I'm in a home. I'm gonna grab something that's gonna give me a mechanical advantage, like a hammer or a knife, you know what I mean? Like, I love, one of my favorite things in the world, I've only seen it like twice ever, but one of my favorite things of all time is when somebody in a fight and they hit somebody with a book. Because it's literally poetic. When you hit someone with a book, it makes it feel like the book is in on the fight, right? Like if we're fighting and then I hit you with some James Baldwin, I'm giving you culture, right? I'm educating you. Somebody being dumb, you hit them with an encyclopedia. Read, you know? Somebody talking crazy, you hit them with a dictionary. You're literally giving them better words to use. But the thing about a microwave is that when it's coming at you in the air, it's all corners. When a microwave is hurtling towards your head, it's nothing but angles, all right? You would think it was a diamond, the way that it moves through the air. I guess I'd never seen one fly before, so I was like, wow, right? And so then, the best you can hope for, if you can't catch the microwave, if it's coming at you too fast and spinning too hard for you to dodge or stop it, is to just get hit with a flat surface, right? The best case scenario is that you get hit with a microwave that's coming at you door first, like a window. That feels like it has the most give to it. But that didn't happen at all. This dude threw the microwave at the grabber, and that dude got hit in the head with the popcorn button. And I've never seen a person shut off faster, right? Like, this dude caught a microwave in the head, and you just saw him go, like, I've never seen someone go limp that fast, right? We were all standing there like, I think he dead. Like, the only reason we knew he wasn't dead is that finally, after like 30 seconds, which 30 seconds when you think you're looking at a dead body is forever. That's... When you think that somehow you might go to jail too, you've been looking at that body all day. But he was clearly like down for 30 seconds, and then we just saw him be like, oh. So, he's fine.
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I love being in Seattle. It's dope here, you know. Feels like if Brooklyn had mountains. Yeah, it's just a more relaxed, seemingly relaxed pace of life here than I'm used to. Because even y'all's, I'm not critiquing, I'm just noticing. Even y'all's crime is at a slower pace. You know what I mean? Like, y'all still got crime and everything, but when it happens, it's like, everybody's like, oh yeah, that is illegal.
This didn't happen this time, but years ago, I was in Seattle and I saw, it was a very confusing sight. I don't know what I saw, but what it looked like from the outside, looking in Brooklyn to Seattle, what it looked like was this woman's purse had been stolen. But the thief and the woman weren't running. I think that's what confused us all, because we were, like, one of two things was happening, all right? Either a couple had an argument, the man walked away forgetting he had been holding his girlfriend's purse. So he walking off in a huff, and then she following him because maybe she knows whatever she said went a little too far this time. Or a man with very little commitment to his craft stole a woman's purse and then casually walked off. And then a woman who must not care about the purse decided, I'll go get it. It was so confusing because the man was walking, and he was walking like casually. He's just walking, holding the purse, but just walking. And then the woman behind him is like, hey. And then at one point she leaned towards the purse to grab, the strap. And the man was like, huh. That's when I had to reassess the whole situation. Because what if it was not this woman's purse? What if this woman is the lazy thief? What if this man is just trying to have a day out with his purse, and this woman who likes the purse is like, I would like to have that, and I don't plan on paying or running. And they just continue like that down the street. Hey. I watched them do this into the distance. I didn't want to get involved because you ever get involved in an argument and you pick the wrong side, and now you don't know where you stand. You see two people arguing and everything. It's like you try to step in, try to be not necessarily a hero, but just a good Samaritan. Hey, what's the problem here, right? And then you feel like at the end of this thing you should have just left it alone. One time, I was doing a bar show, and we get out of the bar show, and in the parking lot is this couple having this shouting match, and this big old dude and this tiny woman, and he's not moving in a way that's threatening her, but he is like just yelling at her real loud, and she's yelling too, but he's got a booming voice, and she just can't match his level. And they are getting like a little closer. He's still not like bucking up or anything. It's just, if anything, she's walking up to him, I guess, to make her point, a little bit more clearly. And so, I don't know, my friends and I saw this, and I just walked over, just being like, hey, y'all good? What's with all this yelling? And admittedly, I was talking to him. This is a big old dude yelling at this tiny woman. And I'm in my head, I'm like, all right, hopefully if I step in, somebody will back me up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not big enough to stop him, and I don't know the proper techniques, but if I throw myself at him and somebody else is coming, then maybe together we could come up with something to do. And so he's yelling, she's yelling. I'm like, hey, y'all good? Y'all good? What's up? What's up? Calm down, bro. What's up? And then he's like, she poisoned my dog.
Because I had everybody looking at me for when I said, I'm gonna go say something. And then they heard that part, and then I'm like, I wish I was over there with y'all, because y'all were in the minding your business section. That looks like a better section to be in. And I didn't know what to do, because I don't know what their history is, but if the most recent thing that has happened is the poisoning of the dog, if the only thing that has happened is the poisoning of the dog, I think he might be in the right to raise his voice, to have a little volume, you know? I don't know the condition of the dog. And so he says that to me, and in the moment, they had both stopped yelling. They were both looking at me. And then the people who I left, my friends from the show, were also looking at me. And in my head, I'm like, well, this really shouldn't be on me. Like that's crazy. I came over to diffuse the situation, and then I became diffused. And so I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? She poisoned my dog. And then everybody's just staring. And so I'm looking at my friends, and I turn back to those two, and I go from looking at him to looking at her, and I go, stop it. Nah, I hate picking the wrong side. Nah, it sucks. I've been watching the news, and I can't help but be taken aback what's going on between people and the companies that these people buy from. You know, Target, they know. Believe me. Target has been in more than hot water. They have been boycotted this year because Target, they're an interesting case because they took it upon themselves to try to be, or at least seem, super inclusive of everyone. Now, these companies aren't people. They're trying to make money, and the hope there is that everyone will want to spend their money here if we look like we're for everybody. That's the idea that goes into it. And a lot of people would say that that's just good business. You want to appeal to as many people as possible, so as many people as possible buy your product or products, right? And so they did that. They took it upon themselves to be the place where it's like, look, Target, you can come here, you can get anything. It doesn't matter who you are. We'll make up products just for you. All right? When your month comes around, we're going to make products. We're going to make products that nobody ever made before because nobody asked for. We are going to blow your mind with our products just for you. And they did every year. They managed to blow my mind by making a product that, as a black person, I never knew I didn't want to see. You know, Black History Month would come around, and then they'd hit you with something where you're like, do you know any black people? Every product that Target came up with for black people during Black History Month felt like they came up with it off a rumor. Do you ever, in my head, I'm like, there's no way a black person pitched this thing, you know? It would just be like, it would be like grape flavored. You're groaning like you didn't see it too. Like, it just be like grape flavored root beer or something. It'd be like, hi, I don't know who told you to do this. They would come out with stuff that made you go, okay, well, even if a black person pitched you this, there's no way you're gonna make enough money off of this new product to make it worth it. Like, in my head, I was like, selling this for a month doesn't make sense. I think you have a lot of leftover grape-flavored root beer with nowhere to go. And so Target didn't just do it to, black people. They did it to everybody. All of my friends got a special month at Target that made them go, huh, this is odd. And they never got the response that they wanted. Like I'm sure Target was like, oh, they'll love this. It's Pride Month, they'll love this. But none, not a single one, not any of my queer friends ever said, oh, we gotta get down to Target. They got that rainbow volleyball. You know that rainbow volleyball that we love, because rainbow is our whole personality. You know how we've never wanted anything unless it was rainbow. People do to queer people with rainbow what they do to like black people with products sometimes, where they'll be like, I don't know how to market it to black, just make it music, I guess. Try and get more black people to, I don't know, eat at Burger King. They're like, what about some drums? And so that's one of the things, is that Target in their efforts would sometimes still get into like these mini scandals off of people being like, what's the plan here? Some people would be offended sometimes. And then, there's obviously the thing online where people would get mad at the people getting offended. They're offended, the people are offended. And then they take up for Target, kind of, but then they don't even want the product. It's not like they want the product. And so they're taking up for Target because they're like, hey, we like grape flavored root beer over here, right? That never happened. It was always someone like, they made it for you, why are you so offended, right? And then taking up for Target as if they want a rainbow volleyball. Very weird. It's like a very weird investment to get into like a product that nobody is buying. And then Target would try to like sidestep. They try to come up with something else. It would be worse. It'd be so much worse. Next year, they're like, we're going to do right by everybody. This product is going to kill them, all right? They're going to love it. Watermelon paper plates. And then they see the article and they're like, okay, maybe that was bad. I don't know. Maybe, how was I supposed to know? It's not like any black people are like in the C-suite, so. There was one too that cracked me up. This one genuinely is very funny to me. Like none of them really offended me, but I really couldn't get offended at this one because it was so funny. So basically, Black History Month came around and they had made a bunch of like prominent black leaders, these magnets with a bunch of prominent black leaders on them, and all of the magnets were like labeled to the wrong person. Like it was you could just tell whoever did it that day. Like they were looking at Booker T. Washington, they were like, Muhammad Ali. Like, I just don't know who that product's for. Like personally, I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know who was like, oh, life is good. It's almost perfect. But you know what I don't have? Martin Luther King on my fridge. And sometimes people were more than just offended by these products. Sometimes people felt like that this was like a direct mocking or something, and so then they would boycott Target. And a lot of these previous boycotts, I don't really know how much market value, I don't really know how much stock went down, because there wasn't really a unified front on some of these boycotts. I'm sure they hurt, but they didn't make news in how much they hurt, And then in in 2020, in the wake of George Floyd's murder, right? Target, like a lot of companies, made pledges. They made pledges. Target pledged somewhere in the neighborhood of like $2 billion to black businesses over time, and $100 million to black communities also over time. And yeah, that was you look back at 2020 and you remember 22. You remember what everybody was like, we gonna stop being racist. Remember that? Remember in 2020, I mean, we were all in our rooms. Everybody was like, who would I even be racist to? They're not here. You know how hard it is to be racist when they not even here. You know, we're gonna stop it. We're all gonna stop it. Companies pledged to stop it. People pledged to stop it. Everything. And then we got outside and we were like, oh, I remember. This is America. Come on now, we gotta do a little racism. We said it, but come on, we said a lot of things, all right? We said we were gonna learn another language. We didn't do that either. We were inside. You say crazy stuff when you get cabin fever, like, I'll stop being racist. No. And so then you have the next few years where Target themselves, no one was talking to Target that I know of. Nobody had put a target on Target to like be the great hope of black business. They got involved. They were like, and we'll do $2 billion. But nobody was looking at them that I know of. They just inserted themselves, like an annoying person would. And they made a big pledge. That's a big pledge. Even if you were a multi-billion-dollar company, $2 billion is like a lot. And so you see when Target gets all into all the diversity, all the inclusivity and everything, that's just to try to make money. I hope we can all understand that. And not just because they betrayed the things that they said that they cared about like 5 years ago. I think even when they were saying it, even when it was happening, we were like, okay. I mean, I look at a company making promises about how much its mission cares about people, multi-billion-dollar company. I look at that the way I look at like sexting. If you've ever been sexted before, depending on who it is, you've read the message and you've said to yourself, the thing I say to myself when I read the mission statement of $1 billion company, you're not gonna do all that. No, that's a lie, that's a lie. And I don't even know where this money was supposed to go or where it started going or if it was just for the press release. I have no idea. But I know that when Trump won, Trump immediately, day one, was like, we're going to get rid of DEI. We're going to get rid of all of these programs. We want everything to be merit-based and fair. So obviously we have to get rid of as many people as possible who earn their position over time. And so that's what he did. He started making moves immediately. And then Target, once again, could have done nothing. That's what's so crazy about the situation Target's in. They could have said nothing. Nobody was checking for the watermelon paper plates. In fact, if a Black History Month went by and Target didn't make a new product, we probably would have thought, wow, good on you. Y'all really have learned from your ways. Y'all really a regular store now. You're not trying to help or anything. You're not throwing out, Malcolm X, but it's Michael Jackson. Y'all are just being a regular store where I can go buy regular paper plates. They didn't have to say anything, but then Target came out once again, inserting themselves like an annoying person would.
and being like, hey, we're getting rid of DEI too. People were like, oh, okay. Once again, no one was talking to you. And look, these are moves that are made for money. That's what they always were. Even when I heard about those pledges from Target, it didn't make me go, oh, Target, you care about me? I was like, all right, yeah, I guess the next time I'm on my way home, I need one of those like toothpick things. You know, the thing that's like floss, but it has a handle. I guess if I need one of those and Target is on the way home, maybe I'll buy it at Target. That's as much as it moved me. But just because I didn't have a business and I didn't really know what this pledge meant, so it didn't like change my mind about Target. I don't care about Target enough for my mind to be changed. I just went on about my life. And then whenever they made this statement of like, we're getting rid of all of our DEI too, I was like, guys, I still don't care about you. Like, you can't move me one way or the other. There are other stores on the way home. But people who either were pledged that money or have been watching Target to make sure they kept their word, they noticed that statement. And they noticed that it's pretty convenient to get all the social capital out of making a pledge. A $2 billion pledge and a $100 million pledge that you haven't had to come up good on. And now you're going to end it just in time to not really have to get into it. That's very convenient. And so then there were people who called them up on it. They were like, all right, look, a pledge is a pledge. You can label it however you want, but you said publicly that you would be donating this money. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to boycott. We're going to boycott Target. And then this Target boycott started. And a lot of people poo-pooed it initially. A lot of people were like, Target gets boycotted all the time. Didn't you hear about the grape-flavored root beer? But this thing was different. And there's a lot of numbers in it. There's a lot of numbers to the tune of $100 million to more than $2 billion. This thing takes off, like really takes off. And I found out about it late. I did. I'll tell you right now. I found out about the Target boycott very, very late. And I don't mean very, very late as in yesterday. I found out about it when I was in Target. I was in Target. And then there was somebody also in Target leaned over to me and was like, hey, we don't shop here right now. You got to see this from my perspective real quick. From my perspective, I had gone into a store. Into a store. I'm not thinking about his Target. I went into a store to get what I needed to get. And then while shopping, I was approached by someone who was like, we don't shop here right now. You know how perplexing that is? So many things were going through my head at one time, because the first thing is like, we don't shop here right now. In my head, I'm like, all right, do you work at like Walmart or something? Like, do you... What's your deal, right? Then I had another thought. I was like, okay, all right. We don't shop here right now. But you're in here. I said, but you're in here. And they were like, I'm in here to let people know we don't shop here right now. And I was like, oh, interesting and effective. Like I wasn't aware. It's just so funny to have somebody in the store
to let people know we don't shop at the store. It just feels like the most, it's just the most like, what's it called? It's the most civility I've seen in what must feel like to the store, robbing the store. Because I put down, like in my hand, I had the toothpick with the handle, and I was like, oh, I already had it in my hand, but I guess I can put it back. And then I walked out, and that's money that they didn't make. It's like that thing is effective. And so I didn't buy the toothpick thing. I left, right? And in my head, I left, but I was also like, all right, that thing was like $6, so I guess they didn't get my $6, but hopefully they really needed it. Hopefully that $6. I love when a company who's done something bad need the money bad. Like, you know, like when somebody needs the money bad, they're like, hey, look, brother, look. If you can hold me over with this $8. And so, you know, I left. I went to CVS. To my knowledge, they hadn't done anything, so felt like a safe place to get the toothpicks. I've had something in between my teeth the entire day, so I need it desperately. Even when the man was telling me we don't shop here right now, he was like, ooh, you got... And so, yeah, so I left. And wasn't really sure what would come of it. And then on the way home, I'd see Target and be like, yeah, whatever. I'll make it to CVS. It's 2 more blocks. Really not knowing, because a boycott now is different than a boycott from the past. A boycott from the past, you had to. It was imperative that you used your body and your voice to be there in real time. You had to go there. You had to go out. You had to pick it outside of the store to let people know how you felt about the store. And the numbers that you had, it sort of dictated the narrative, you know? Because they couldn't run. They had newspapers that they could maybe run some ads in or try to create a narrative, but nobody could argue with what they saw with their own eyes. Not yet. It wasn't present day. Because now, if you want to boycott, you have options. You have options you never had in the past. You can be there with your voice, with your body, right? Or you could be online organizing a different picket line, organizing a different room full of people in agreement with you, outrage at this company, you think they've done something wrong. And it doesn't even have to be a worthy cause. Truly, that's what's crazy about it. It's like, it's the same as it's always been, but there's just different avenues to do those same things. So now you have the benefit. Instead of needing to fly everyone who cares about this thing and thinks this thing to the same space that you're in right now to be in a picket line with you so you can show the company that hundreds, maybe even thousands of people feel this way, you can just be online. These companies, they're trying to be just like us. They're trying to act and behave like people. They want you to think of them as a person, which is why they do things to try to ingratiate themselves to you like a person would. They make pledges of things they'll do, things that maybe would ingratiate you to them and feel like they're your friend. They're not your friend, they're a corporation. But you can use the fact that they want to seem like a person to you to let them know how you feel about them. That's access that has never happened until now, you know? And so you get all of these people doing it at one time, and it does have a compound effect. Because it's not as visible as it was in 50s, 60s, 70s, I think we sometimes lose a little bit of hope and a little bit of understanding of what a boycott can do, of what a protest can do, because it seems like these companies have so much money that they can never be brought back down. But that's just not true. You know, you look at Target from then to now, and I know market valuations go up and down. I know they fluctuate. Things are not set in stone just because they go bad for a while, but them going bad for a while is a wake-up call to the company. And
people boycotted Target, even up until present day. I don't know when it'll be over, to be honest with you. Really don't know when I can go in Target again. And I'm not thirsty to go in Target again. I'm just like, it's on the way home, and I just have to keep reminding myself, like, no, we not, no, right? But Target has lost more than it promised. Target's lost more than $100 million, and has lost more than the $2 billion that it pledged. By the most recent estimate that I saw, and it could be different on a different day, it could be different in this moment, but Target, through this boycott, has lost somewhere in the neighborhood of $12.4 billion in market value. And it's because of people boycotting. I think a boycott is also difficult to wrap your head around sometimes because it's not doing something. You know what I mean? It's not, you aren't. It's not like like when you go and protest, you went and you protested, and now your throat is sore, your feet tired. But a boycott is like, don't. Like y'all are doing it right now. Like y'all are boycotting Target right now. You just don't go. Because I'm like chronically online, sometimes people get upset about stuff, and I don't get it because it's not my thing to be upset about. Like it's not, maybe it's not my culture, or I don't have the connection to it that other people have. So, I don't necessarily take all outrage seriously, but when people are upset, I try to hear them out to a point. Doesn't mean I'm gonna agree, but I'm like, let's see why this is such a big deal. And I didn't know about the attack on culture that's been happening this week. I didn't realize how bad things are out here. I didn't know. Admittedly, I didn't know. I looked into it as soon as I did. I had no idea the impact of changing the Cracker Barrel logo. I didn't know what this would do to people. Now, if you're sitting there wondering, what is Cracker Barrel? If you were sitting there wondering, what is Cracker Barrel? You've lived a good life. If you're sitting there wondering what Cracker Barrel is, you are doing perfectly fine. But just to bring you up to speed, it is a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, and they have a side that is restaurant. They have a side that's like little gift shop, knickknacks and stuff. It's very cute. I grew up in the South, so I grew up with Cracker Barrel, right? And Cracker Barrel, they look. Listen to me, all right? Sometimes something happens, and everyone is so reactionary now that like they don't form their opinion authentically. I saw this and I didn't care. And when you don't care, you're able to be at least a little bit closer to objective, right? So I saw what was happening. And they changed the Cracker Barrel logo. If you've never seen the Cracker Barrel logo, get ready. As far as logos go, it does the job. It says Cracker Barrel, and then there's a barrel. And then there's a guy next to the barrel, right? And the guy next to the barrel posted up. The guy next to the barrel is out here feeling himself. He's over here like... And the new logo says Cracker Barrel with really nothing else, or really like just two ovals around it. It is objectively worse.
I understand that the people upset are making it about something that I at least don't think it's about, right? Because there were people that saw them get rid of the guy and the barrel, and then they were like, this. The first impression was of someone who had a stroke over it. So that. But people genuinely were like, this is insane. This can't stand. This is white genocide. Listen to me. I'm no expert, and I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But I'm pretty sure that just as many white people are alive after they changed the logo as there were before the logo change. And any people who have sadly passed was incidental. I don't think it had anything to do with the Cracker Barrel logo change specifically. And look, I don't know who this dude was to the, like, I don't know if somebody just drew him or if that's like the founder. I don't know, because admittedly I didn't care enough to get into it. But all I know is that look, I'm not on their side as far as everything they're saying, but this is a worse logo. Like, it just is. They basically did the Washington football team to white people. They just up there saying what it is and not giving us anything else. Nah, it's rough. It really, that's bad. Especially with that guy, that was, I don't know. Y'all did it. It said Cracker Barrel, and then there was the barrel, and then there was the... the guy. Y'all being rude, not me. And so, yeah, Cracker Barrel was facing immense backlash, threats of a boycott. They done with Cracker Barrel over here. And admittedly, look, if we're talking business for a second, just business, it is kind of wild that the CEO said something to the effect, this is what I've read, the CEO said something to the effect of, MAGA doesn't have to eat here, we'll respect their decision not to, right? So they got directly called out. They got directly called out by this CEO. I don't even know what prompted it. I don't know what the question was that led to that answer. But I will say, look, we talking business, from business. Remember, business. I'm gonna throw it out there, and I could be wrong. I love being wrong. I could be wrong, but I do think they were the only ones eating there. So, like, that would be like the dude at the Red Hat Company being like, we don't need MAGA. It's like, unless there's a new baseball team, I think you might. No, it was truly wild. And now MAGA's had a insane backlash. Look, I don't know what's bots and what's actually people upset. All I know is I've seen a lot of tweets.
a lot of tweets being like, I can't believe, look at these. You know what's funny too? It's like sometimes people get mad at you and they start describing you in their anger, and it doesn't sound as bad as they think it sounds, but because it's what they're mad at you about, it sounds bad. I saw this one tweet that was like, look at this woman. She single-handedly tanked Cracker Barrel stock because she wanted to be a woke girl boss. She wanted to put her whole life into her career, and then she rose to the level of CEO, only to tank the company, though. She tanked the company. And yes, she's a young CEO, but she tanked the company. I'm just like, as you list the things, like as I was reading the tweet, I was like, I mean, outside of like 8 of these words, this is a good LinkedIn profile. That's why it almost felt like a bot, because it was like complimentary and angry at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, after her departure from this company, she came to Cracker Barrel, where she quickly rose through the ranks, only to tank the company, but quickly rose through the ranks. Okay. No. And like, that's the other thing that's frustrating about being online right now, is like, because so many people are not clear with the joke they're trying to make, I don't know what is a joke as far as like the remodel and redesign of Cracker Barrel, because that's also what's happening. They changed the logo, but changing the logo is what companies do when they're just floating something. They're just throwing the idea out there to sort of test the market reaction. Maybe they've already actually changed the logo, but it's very easy for a company to tweet out from the company account, what do y'all think about this logo, and do your market research that way. It's simple enough. But they said that not only were they changing the logo, they were going to remodel and redesign 500 locations, is at least what I read. And I saw a picture of the redesign. Look, I already wasn't eating at Cracker Barrel, so it's really like no stress to me. But for those that love Cracker Barrel, I was a little stressed out for them, because they really trying to modernize it, I guess. And the reactions to it were interesting. The reactions to it, it blew my mind a little bit. Because there were people genuinely being like, this is an erasure of American culture, and it is an erasure of white culture, like white heritage and everything. And like, I've been to a Cracker Barrel, and yes, it's very white, but like, I'm not even saying Cracker Barrel is bad. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to like figure out how to word this. Like, it's like, if you want to just talk about like white culture, like if you concerned with like white heritage, it's just Cracker Barrel should be so low on that you know what I mean? I've grown up around white people. I've known white people my whole life, and very few have ever mentioned Cracker Barrel when it wasn't at the next exit. Like, I didn't know it meant this much to white people. That's ignorant of me. I am sorry to be walking around in America of all places, not knowing how important this was to your heritage and culture. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak for anybody, but I feel like even white people read that and were like, me? No, I've had Cracker Barrel because, you know, I've been on the road, and I've always had it when it was like the last stop. It was like you either eat now, because they know where to put the Cracker Barrel. You either eat now, or you wait 35 minutes until the saddest McDonald's You know what I mean? It's either like, look, you either have a burger or some pancakes, or you wait 35 minutes to be poisoned. You can decide. You can either have a little too much syrup on your pancakes, or, you know, have the Snickers flavored hemlock. It just makes me mad. They're not even trying to be food anymore. They're like, no, we put the fryer is in the floor now. Like, we just. It doesn't change. It does not change. I have a friend he's sweet. He's a good person. He's a very good person. But he is like gross. That's just a fact. I'm not being mean. I've told him to his face. And he has before, you know, eaten in his car to the point of not knowing that he had like a wrapper in his car, and to the point of like maybe not finishing his meal in the car, going inside, and to the point of having an old burger in his car for quite a while. And a McDonald's burger, to be fair, not just picking on McDonald's here, any burger left out for long, for days, for road trips will smell. My problem is a McDonald's burger left in your car for a month. Stop smelling. Food is supposed to go through a process. Whatever that food is, it could be fruits, it could be vegetables, it could be meats, right? It could be everything except like maybe seeds are supposed to go through a change. You know, they get to a point where they're growing, they get to a point where they're ripe. Even if it's meat, you get to a point where the animal is killed, the animal is prepared, and then the meat is there to be eaten. Even with processed food, the process is usually to extend the shelf life of the food, but there's still a time to eat it and a time to not. And the fact that McDonald's goes through the process, like the burger goes through the process, they actually, you know, I think, kill a cow. They actually, I assume, make a burger. And then they actually sell it to you. And then maybe you get two, and then you only have time to eat one. And then maybe it falls off the passenger seat, and then it slides back because you were making a sharp left turn because you don't know how to drive. So you change lanes last minute when you're on the highway like a lunatic who's trying to get killed, who's trying to be injured in a car accident. And so you swerve, and then that swerve slides the burger under the seat, and you go about your life. You know, you get home, you go to work the next day, you come home, you go to work the next day, you come home, and you do start to smell something. But because you're gross, you're not gonna do anything about it. You just sort of know that you smell it. You're aware that there is a smell. You just are thinking about it sometimes like, never mind. That's the thought process of someone who is nasty. Because you know it's in your car, you know it's here, and you recognize it from before, from the last time you went, probably not a big deal, probably not worth addressing. And then you wait. You wait until a friend, a good friend, a person who is not nasty, person named Josh gets in your car because you offered them a ride. And when you take one of your famous left turns and almost hit the car in front of you, you slam on the brake. And when you slam on the brake, something slides to the front of the... Something hits poor Josh's foot. Josh, being inquisitive, looks down and sees a fully wrapped McDonald's burger and reaches down and there's a feeling in the burger. A little tough. And then I'm like, oh, your burger fell. And then you disgusting freak, you go, what burger? And I'm like, this burger. And then I hold up the burger and then you go, I haven't had McDonald's in weeks. And then Josh goes, oh. It's either that or Cracker Barrel, okay? And look, a part of me understands where people are coming from. A part of me understands that some people hate change. Some people love the nostalgia of going to Cracker Barrel. Some people they like it as a restaurant and they would prefer it stay the same. That's actually pretty normal. I even get upset sometimes when a grocery store that I like switches up the aisles a little bit. They're like, actually, we figured that the noodles should go over with the pasta. We had broken it up by ethnicity of the foods, and then we were worried that looked bad. So then we just put every noodle-shaped thing together, the noodles, the pasta, even just long sticks, they all on the same aisle right now because we're one people. We don't want to break people off and make people be like, ooh, you're not as good, you gotta go further in the store and to aisle 8 because you like this sort of noodle. We just put everything in one. Even then, even when that's their reason, I'm like, ugh, why'd you have to change it? I knew where it was. Now I gotta be in here longer. And so I get people who are like, I just don't like it. I don't get people who are like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. That always like ends up, I don't know, people always end up telling on themselves in that regard. If this is the worst thing that's ever happened to you, that a company you don't own changed their logo that you only looked at when you went. I don't know who loves Cracker Barrel enough to have the logo in a frame and kiss that picture every night before bed. I don't know what sort of Cracker Barrel freaks are out there. But yeah, the backlash has been stiff. It was swift, it happened quickly. They announced this change and then they lost, apparently, $100 million in market value. I didn't know there were that many people to be upset about Cracker Barrel in dollars. I don't know if Cracker Barrel could afford that. The knickknacks are only like $2, so. No, they're in hot water right now. You just never think of the word valuation when you think of Cracker Barrel. Do you know what I mean? Like if Cracker Barrel, if they had been talking about Cracker Barrel on like Wolf of Wall Street, it would have been because the main character was smoking crack out of a barrel. You know what I mean? Like, wild to me that people are this upset. And I don't know, that's what I find interesting about like boycotts and protests sometimes, is that it just needs to be intentional to be effective, you know? And it could happen to any company. They forget that all the time, that it could happen to any of them, you know? But it just doesn't happen often enough. You know, they've consolidated to a point, they've built up monopolies to a point where if you're going to participate, you have to buy from one of them or some of them some of the time. And that's the situation we find ourselves in, you know. And then it's nice when you get a little glimmer of hope when people decide to, you know, vote with their dollar and say, if this is how you feel about me, Target, then nah. Then no. And then, while you may not be Target's #1 customer, you may not be a Target head. Them not getting your $3.50, them not getting your $26.42, them not getting your $100, them not getting your $5, them not getting your $3, them not getting your $485 you're moving, them not getting all manner of money from you starts to equal up to about $100 million. And because of the system that we live in, you know, very few of us, and I say us as in all of America, will have that much money to move. That is a very minute part of the entire population that has that amount of money to move, but together we have that much money to move, you know? And because these companies are not people, because people you can reason with, people can understand something that is based in logic, you know? But companies don't. Companies only understand gains and losses. And so the only way to make them understand is to make them lose. And make them lose so much that it hurts, and it really hurts. And then maybe when it really hurts, they'll make a change, not because better people are there, not because they fired a CEO and then hired a better person as a CEO. I don't know that many CEOs, but I imagine at a certain point, they have a similar outlook on the company and a similar outlook on the employees. I think that because of the system that we've built, when it comes to corporations, you're gonna find very few compassionate CEOs or just incredibly reasonable people who wanna do what's best for the customer. That might be what they say, but what the company does is different. And so I think that inside of all of that, you make the company hurt until someone comes along and maybe their background is in accounting, maybe they're a sociologist, who knows, maybe they started in PR, but they know we have to reverse course or else the hurt will continue. And then you get what you want. You get what you boycotted for, what you protested for. These things are still possible, and it is simple, it is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time. We are at an advantage. We're at an advantage that the people in the 50s, 60s, and 70s weren't at, because we don't need to be there all the time with our body using our specific voice. We can organize online. We can organize in person as well. We can build community around a cause. And then we can exact that cause to the tune of $100 million, you know? And then when that thing happens, maybe the next company will go, but you know what happened to Target.